Alright boys, I'm back with another one of my Draftbox 5 deck lists. This one is going to be my red-blue Invoker list. When I was seeing the releases, I saw Sleepy Boy, I thought that card was nuts, and I knew I had to run it. So that has led to the deck that you are about to see. First things first, I'm not really going to go over every single card in the Invoker list because everyone knows what Invoker does. I'm just going to talk about key differences from my list as compared to other lists and some things that I might need to personally change going forward depending on what kind of decks show up in the meta. So firstly, we're going to start off with 4 Sleepy Boy techniques. Card is nuts. It's a negate that bounces an opponent's battle card and draws 2 cards. So you +1 to hand and you stop 2 attacks. Recycling it with my leader and then recycling it with Piccolo, Namekian Lineage leads to me accruing an absolutely massive hand. The average hand in this deck is 15 cards. I have gotten all the way up to 20 cards against Piccolo hand control. I've even had a match where I had 17 cards in hand. This deck probably draws more than any deck in the format and has a bigger hand than any deck in the format. And that's because of Sleepy Boy technique. I don't think you need Tyranny's Cost anymore, at least not in the main board. Maybe a 2 of in the sideboard for a hand control deck. But the argument that you're playing against a charge pass deck, so you might want Tyranny's Cost. My counter argument would be name a better deck that charge passes better than Invoker, and then I'll consider running Tyranny's Cost in the main board. But at the moment, I do not think it's a main board card. If they're not attacking you, they're probably not going to be winning. So Sleepy Boy technique is definitely the main board staple over Tyranny's Cost now. Next up is combination attack. I think last set, most Invoker players were pretty much just running this at 1, which is sort of baffling to me. There was a very clear issue with this deck with like combo power. Combination attack hits pretty much half the meta, maybe more, and hits all the good pressure cards. So even though you can't out combo of leader attacks, you have 10 negates in the main board and 3 blockers, and you can always recycle the negates with leader effects. So you're always going to be safe on a leader swing. And instead of wasting cards on a normal battle card swing, combination attack is either a 0 mana bounce the card back or a 1 mana bounce the card back. So it's a very strong card. It is definitely a 3 of. I think it's excellent for the deck, and I think it should definitely be a main board staple. Onto my super combo split, because some people like to run 4 Beerus, some people don't. Right now I run a 2-2 split of Beerus and Backbone of Universe 7. This is sort of up for debate, because Beerus arguably might be better due to how much the deck draws, and if your Invoker gets negated by either Surge Q skills or it gets popped, you're really going to want the untap. So Beerus might go up, depending on what meta decks there are and if anyone is side decking or main decking answers to Invoker. But at the moment, I haven't really ran into too many issues, so a 2-2 split is fine. I run 2 Topos in the main board. This is arguably one of the weaker cards in the deck. I don't really use it very often, but it is there, sort of like a safety net. I also run 2 We Are Universe 7, which is also one of the more lackluster cards in the deck, but you don't want to get caught out against like a hand control deck and have your win condition of the Son Goku Ultra Instinct Surpass like ripped out of your hand, or lose your Vegeta and not be able to reestablish it. So it's another one of those cards that's a safety net. I'm not sold on it being one of the best cards for the deck, and arguably I would run it as 1, but I'm not a huge fan of 1-ofs, so I run it as a 2-ofs for a bit more consistency, and I can always charge it as a red for We're in This Together, so I can use the loop effect of We're in This Together with the red energy that I use for We Are Universe 7. My Arena and Wii split is 4 Arena, 2 Whis. 4 Arena is always the right call. Arena is one of the most important cards in the deck. It allows for the consistency of Emperor's Death Beam and Royal Condemnation's second effect of sending it from the drop area to the warp to get a multicolor card off the top of your deck, which increases your hand size and gains maximum value out of those cards. And it stops your red blues coming in and rest. It negates the energy exhaust, so that's hugely important. And then 2 Whis, because you just want the consistency of finding Tournament of Power Arena. You almost always want to get it down turn 1 or turn 2. I run 3 Piccolo Namekian Lineage. This was a card Dayhan was running last set. I watched his deck profile, and his explanation behind Piccolo Namekian Lineage was very strong, so I wanted to try it out, and I personally really enjoy the card. When you have 4 extra cards in your drop area, you get to play it for 1, so it's a 1 mana 15k blocker, and then when it's KO'd, you get to choose a red-blue extra card in your drop area and add it to your hand. So this allows you to recycle Sleepy Boy. You are, with Piccolo, you can block an attack with Piccolo, you can Emperor's Death Beam a battle card to stop 1 attack, and then you can use Piccolo to grab back an Emperor's Death Beam. Against a Maiden's deck, I've mainly been using Piccolo to recycle my Royal Condemnations so that they can never create a board or never get the cards that they want on board. So he has been very useful to me. I like him a lot. He's a good card. And then 3 Sensu Beans. This, like, you always hear a lot of Invoker players say, I never need the untap. Like, it just feels like energy to them. But if you come up against my Boo deck that we just put up on the channel, if you come up against aggro, if your Vegeta gets removed, if your Vegeta gets negated, you are 100% going to want the untap. So Sensu Bean is very important in the deck. I would even argue moving it up to 4. It just depends on how relevant Boo and aggro and Surge Q are going forward. Surge Q is always going to be relevant, so the argument that Sensu Bean should be at 4 could always be made. And then finally onto the win condition. It's the 6-drop Deflect Son Goku Instinct Surpassed. The main reason I run this is because I think the card is like the main win condition for the deck, due to the leader's effect of being able to grab 3 red-blue extra cards from your warp. So it allows for maybe 1 or 2 more attacks with Instinct Surpassed. It has Deflect, which is huge. If your opponent's holding up Frost Deadly Poison, you can just slam it down, and it doesn't matter. It can get around Chompa the Trickster. It can get around Cells. Everything comes in rest mode effect. The only thing it's not good against is Surge Q, because they'll just wipe it. Vegeta's Final Flash, it'll just wipe it. And then you shouldn't really be worried too much about mid-combo step interaction, because the deck can hold pretty much everything off till late. So you can continue to charge to 8 to 9, hold up Royal Condemnations, make sure that you have more energy than the cost of Instinct Surpass, so you don't have to worry about it getting popped by Broly All Out Assault. Like, this card is very strong. There are a few outs to it, but for the most part, most of them are answerable. So I really like running Son Goku Instinct Surpassed, and whenever I play it, I either get anywhere from 5 swings with it if I drop it on turn 6, and then if I push the game further and further, I'll get more attacks. So the most I've ever represented for attacks was 9. Obviously, I didn't get to do all 9, but I had the possibility of attacking with it 9 times, which is absolutely insane. And then the secret rare of the deck, I chose Black Smoke. There's an argument for both. I think both are fine. Black Smoke doesn't lose to a negate. They both lose to Frost Deadly Poison. I prefer Black Smoke. It's a better win condition against Surge Q. So I'm normally winning by mill if I can't win by the by Instinct Surpassed, and Black Smoke does essentially more than what Victory Strike does. So I decided to go that route. And yeah, here's the deck. If you're a control player, you should really like the way it plays. It's pretty much charge, pass, and say no for the entirety of the game until you know you can win. So I do enjoy playing that way, and I have a lot of fun with it. So I hope you test it out, and I hope you enjoy it as well. And I'll see you guys on the next one.